It's 1:30. I'd like to call the meeting of the Traffic and Transportation Commission for November 18, 2013 to order. Can I have a roll call? Commissioner Witcher?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Littlefield?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Newton? Not present. Commissioner Hale? Not present. Commissioner Schuline? Not present. Commissioner Jenkins? Commissioner George? Commissioner Yonkel? Not present. We do have enough to proceed with the meeting. Can I have a motion concerning approval of the minutes of the October 21st, 2013 meeting?
Move to approve.
We have a motion from Commissioner Littlefield to approve. And we have a second from Commissioner Jenkins. Do we have any talk on this item? Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 21st, 2013 meeting from Commissioner Littlefield, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. Can I have your votes, please? Okay, motion is approved. The report on licensed taxi and record service will be on January 2014 meeting. Do I have a motion concerning the consent docket?
I move approval.
We have a motion from Commissioner Witcher to approve the consent docket. We have a second from Commissioner Jenkins. Okay, do we have any talk on the consent docket? Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Witcher to approve the consent docket, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. Can I have your votes, please? Item is approved. Go to item 5. 5A. I'm sorry? Hold on one second. Could you check on that? Did we have all 5 vote up on there? Okay, I thought I saw all 5.
Chair, I saw all 5.
You saw all 5? Okay, yep, very good. Okay, item is approved. Item 5, items for individual consideration. Item 5A, Jeff Shalakinet, Meadow Lake Retirement Village, 963 Southwest 107th Street, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, to consider a request for the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of Southwestern Avenue and Southwest 107th Street. Do we have anybody here to talk on that item? No. Can we have staff input, please?
All right, you've got staff comments before you. This is we kind of went a little bit in depth on this particular review. 107th Street and Southwestern Avenue is a T intersection. When we did our standard manual and uniform traffic control traffic signal warrant analysis, we looked at it with respect to the 100% warrants. It did not meet any of those. We re-reviewed the intersection based on a 70% warrant, which is kind of a means of reviewing traffic conditions by reducing some of the street volumes by 70% when you have certain criteria, and one of which was the posted speed limit on Western Avenue being 45. When we did that, we found that it met 2 of the warrants, but also within the MUTCD, they do have sections that address giving a little bit more further look at some of these intersections, one of which is, especially at a T intersection where you've got right turn movements, you can deduct the right turn movements from the total approach volumes. And so when we took out the right turns, basically because they don't conflict with the movement of traffic on Western Avenue, we found the intersection did not meet any warrants for the consideration of signalization. So given that, the fact that you've got sight distance in excess of 1,000 feet looking both directions from 107th Street, and there are no view obstructions present, we just don't have cause to recommend approval of a signal at this time.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion concerning item 5A?
I'll move to disapprove the request.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Witcher to disapprove item 5A. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Jenkins. Do we have any talk on this item?
I can make just a quick comment on it. I'm familiar with this intersection and getting out and making a left turn. That the nursing home that's back in there, and I guess there's homes back in there as well. I'm not sure how many people actually come in and out. I know that the nursing home has lots of visitors and staff and all that. It's hard to get out of there. I will say, I can see why they want to, I mean, it is tough to get out, because something about just the distance between between 105th or whatever, the 104th, and that intersection just seems to be really difficult. And it's 40, you say it's 45 miles an hour, it sure feels faster there. I mean, that's like the start of the racetrack going south. So anyway, I can see why they want it. It doesn't meet our criteria, I understand that, but a lot of people pulling out of there are 70-plus age, going into that thing. So just food for thought. I am real familiar with it. It's tough. So.
Stuart, the staff report talks about the highest traffic on 107th or coming out at 107th is between 2 and 3 o'clock. Is there perhaps an elementary school back in the addition?
No. There's nothing on the west side of Western in that area, and nothing that those streets connect to. The closest school there is Brinks Junior High, I believe it's called, and that's further to the south.
I was looking to see the speed. Did we do any speed check on that major road there?
As far as like an 85th percentile speed?
Correct, right.
For this report, no, we did not.
Right, okay. But you seem to think that there is some speed there.
Just from personal experience, it seems much higher.
Okay.
Much higher. So,
Yeah, that's right.
just because I've seen some close calls
Sure.
coming out of there, I would vote for a traffic signal myself, but I don't know if it would be worth waiting and maybe doing a study on speed to see if that warrants maybe slowing it down to 40, or maybe we can do that at a later date. I don't know. But it is a treacherous intersection.
Or we can always ask for some help out there if you can send your bikes out there maybe. Okay, thank you. Okay, any more talk on this item? Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Witcher, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins, to disapprove item 5A. Can I have your votes, please? Okay. Item is not approved. Item 5B, Jeff Irwin, General Manager, Ambassador Hotel, Oklahoma City, 1200 North Walker Avenue, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, to consider a request to establish a passenger loading zone on the east side of North Walker Avenue from approximately 55 feet north to 90 feet north of the north curb line of Northwest 11th Street. Do we have anybody here to talk on that item, ma'am? Okay, can we have staff input, please? Oh, wait a second. We do have somebody who wishes to talk? Okay. No, that's fine. If you could come on up, can I have your name, your address, and you have up to 5 minutes. And when you're done, just fill out one of those forms, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Jeff Irwin. I'm the manager of the Ambassador Hotel. My address is 401 Northwest 18th Street. And I basically am just here to answer any questions you may have regarding the request.
All right. Thank you very much. While we're talking, if you can go ahead and fill out the form. Can I have staff input, please?
Okay, the proposed passenger loading zone is going to be constructed in a lay-by, which will be off the street but adjacent to West Walker Avenue. In this particular area, I don't anticipate that putting in such a lay-by for passenger loading purposes is going to have any adverse impact to traffic movement on Walker. So actions at the discretion of the Commission.
Thank you very much. Can I have a motion concerning item 5B?
I can move approval of the application.
We have a motion from Commissioner George to approve 5B,
I'll second.
and we have a second from Commissioner Witcher. Do we have any discussion on item 5B? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5B from Commissioner George, seconded by Commissioner Witcher. Can I have your votes, please? Item is approved. Thanks, sir. Item 5C, Richard McNone, City Center Development, LLC, 4409 Cannon Drive, Norman, Oklahoma, to consider a request to amend the duration of time-limited parking on both sides of Northeast 2nd Street between North Oklahoma Avenue and North Walnut Avenue from 2 hours to 1 hour. Do we have anybody here to speak on this item? Oh, there you are.
Hi there.
Sir, if I can have your name, your address, and you have up to 5 minutes, and then when you're done, fill out one of the...
Certainly. Yes, thank you. My name is Richard McCowan. Today, I am working on City Center Development, LLC's level urban apartment building. Our request to change the 2-hour street parking to 1 hour comes as a joint request also from the Aloft Hotel that is on the south side of us. I believe Jim Thompson with New Century Development also is the signature in requesting this. We both are working very hard to create an active frontage and to create retail, a mixed-use building like the Level building or like the Aloft Hotel, where you have residential on the upper floors and then you're trying to create a very active edge on the lower floors, is challenging to say the least. We have been successful in bringing a grocery store to downtown. When you look at the 2006 recommendation for downtown grocery store, the only thing that is recommended at that point, or at this stage in our city's urban redevelopment, is a small specialty store of about 2,600 square feet. I'm the developer that brought you the 2,460 square foot Native Roots Market, which is a full-service grocery store. It also has a very successful deli in it. In order for us to continue to grow their success, we need more perceived available parking in front of the store during business hours. So very often people are driving past and all the parking spaces, the 45-degree angle spaces along 2nd Street will be full, and we're not able to create the kind of turnover that you'd like to see in a retail environment. We did build 30 parking spaces inside of our parking garage, which are free to the patrons of our retail users, both the grocery store and the restaurant, which is soon to be open, the Urban Johnny's Charcoal Broiler plus a bar restaurant. And so all of us are looking at this little bitty segment of 2nd Street. It kind of is becoming the main street of the Deep Deuce neighborhood, which is our most populated residential downtown neighborhood. We're requesting this mostly to try and ensure the survival of these fledgling businesses that are coming back downtown and creating this active, vibrant urban experience. Any questions?
No, that's fine for right now. Thank you. Make sure to fill out one of the forms. Is there anybody else? Okay, can we have staff input, please?
Okay. The applicants provided a letter indicating that the companies controlling the properties on both sides of 2nd Street are in support of the change. As he mentioned earlier, the intent is to make these parking spaces turn over a little bit more frequently to better the business climate for some of the companies that are operating. Since no change was requested to the days and times when the time-limited parking is applicable, the portion of the current parking regulation will be retained for parking control consistency. So the only thing that you're looking at is a change to the duration, changing it from 2 hours to 1 hour on this one block of 2nd Street. So actions at your discretion.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have a motion concerning item 5C?
I move approval.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Jenkins,
Second.
and we have a second from Commissioner Littlefield. Do we have any discussion on this item?
I have a question for staff. When the parking is 1 hour, but then can you get another sticker, put it on, or do you have to move your car?
This is just signed time-limited parking. So you don't pay for anything in this
Okay.
area.
I got you.
it's kind of on the honor system, you'll park, know that you're,
So then it'll be up to
and the intent is for you
mark
to,
the wheels or however they do that these days? Okay. Okay, thanks.
But I think it goes back to the basic question, on a timed parking spot, you're there for that time, then you have to move, whether it's metered or just a general signage. I mean, am I correct? Okay. I do have one thing, if I could ask. 1 hour to shop, is that sufficient, you think? You don't think that they're going to get in there and then feel rushed or feel like they're going to violate the law or something? Is 1 hour sufficient because of the size of your store?
It's an excellent question. The average time people are in the store is usually under 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right, well, thank you.
Do we need to, does it need to be part of our motion that this timed parking would just run from like 8 to 6, Monday through Friday?
the current regulation in this particular area is already like that, and all you'd be doing would be amending the duration, so it'd go from 2 hours to 1 hour, but it'll still be Monday through Friday, 8 to 6.
So the motion as it's been given it's fine?
That should be fine, yes.
Which also goes back to, for you, you still just want the 1 hour during the weekdays. During the weekends, it's free game? Yes. Okay. Okay. Any other talk on this item? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5C from Commissioner Jenkins, seconded by Commissioner Littlefield. Can I have your votes, please? Item is approved. Thanks, sir. Item 5D, Corey Lips, P.E., Project Manager, Cardinal Engineering, Inc., 1015 North Broadway Avenue, Suite 300, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, to consider requests for the establishment of two-hour time-limited parking on the west side of North Walnut Avenue from Northeast 4th Street to approximately 200 feet south of the south curb line of Northeast 4th Street. Do we have anybody here to talk on this item? 5D. No? Okay. May I have staff input, please?
What you've got is a request for this, what would be the first on-street parking on Walnut Avenue in this particular area. The applicants indicated that an apartment complex is proposed in this area, and as part of their development, they're going to be building inset parallel parking spaces that are on Walnut Avenue. Currently, Walnut Avenue is signed as no parking on both sides, but because there's not sufficient room for parking without affecting capacity. By putting in the inset parallel parking, we don't anticipate that this should adversely impact traffic movement on Walnut. So in this particular case, if the commission recommends approval of establishing two-hour time limit parking, we would ask that the same restrictions apply that are in the rest of the Deep Deuce area in that area, which is to make it applicable from Monday through Friday from 8 to 6.
Okay, thank you for your input. Do we have a motion concerning item 5D?
I'll move approval.
We have a motion from Commissioner Witcher to approve item 5D. Do we have a second? And we have a second from Commissioner Jenkins. Do we have any talk on item 5D? And, ma'am, do we need to mention in the time limits, as Mr. Chai referenced in our motion? I'm sorry.
He was correct on that point as far as the regulations already being effective from Monday through Friday, 8 to 6.
So we don't need to make a special, okay? All right. Any discussion on item 5D besides that? All right, we have a motion to approve item 5D from Commissioner Witcher, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. May I have your votes, please? Item is approved. Okay, item 5E, Corey Lips, P.E., Project Manager, Cardinal Engineering, Inc., 1015 North Broadway Avenue, Suite 300, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, to consider requests for item 1, establishment of two-hour reserved parking spaces for the physically disabled on the north side of East Sheridan Avenue from approximately 75 feet east to 100 feet east, and from approximately 623 feet east to 645 feet east of the east curb line of Joe Carter Avenue. 2, establishment of 1 two-hour reserved parking space for the physically disabled on the south side of East Sheridan Avenue from approximately 75 feet east to 100 feet east of the east curb line of Joe Carter Avenue. And 3, establishment of 2-hour metered parking on the north and south side of East Sheridan Avenue between Joe Carter Avenue and Charlie Christian Avenue. Do you have anybody here to speak on this item? Okay, do we have staff input, please?
Okay, the addition of inset on-street parallel parking spaces regulated by 2-hour parking meters is common throughout the Bricktown area, and we don't anticipate that with this being an inset, it's going to have adverse impact on the movement of traffic on East Sheridan Avenue. The proposed inset parallel parking spaces reserved for the physically disabled are in conformance with the number per block as allowed under Municipal Code Section 32-342. And it's staff's recommendation that if approved, use of the parking spaces be limited to 2 hours with respect to the handicap parking spaces. So action on this matter will be at the discretion of the Commission.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have a motion concerning item 5E?
I move approval.
We have a motion from Commissioner Jenkins to approve item 5E. Do we have a second?
And second.
We have a second from Commissioner George. Do we have any talk on item 5E?
Just question, just in case staff knows, it appears from photographs that these properties are not developed, so do we know what's going to be going in there?
Well, what is driving this is the redevelopment of the site that's currently occupied, or was occupied by the Stewart Steel Company. So that is kind of the driving impetus for making these particular parking changes along Sheridan. Basically, what you're seeing is an extension of on-street parking further to out of the east end of Bricktown.
And do we know if the development that's going to be happening on the old Stewart Steel site is going to be conducive to 2-hour parking? I guess we know by virtue of that's what the request that was made.
Well, at this point in time, I couldn't answer that question for you. Mm-hmm. The only thing I can tell you for sure is that the continuation of 2-hour metered park. Well, 2-hour metered parking is what's on Sheridan right now, and so this is nothing more than an orderly continuation of that same practice.
Okay, any other talk on item 5E? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5E from Commissioner Jenkins with a second by Commissioner George. Can I have your votes, please? Item is approved. Okay, item 6, comments from citizens. Do we have some that's already down here? Okay, Joey Allen, I believe. Sir, if I can have your name, your address, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you. Joey Allen, General Manager of King's Worldwide Transportation, 4801 Northwest 10th Street in Oklahoma City, 73127. I was just curious, I was hoping there would be some sort of an action item or something updating us on the status of the Uber investigation, and just wanted to renew my concern that, to the best of my knowledge, neither the company nor their subcontracted drivers are being permitted, either the chauffeur, the drivers for vehicle for hire, or the vehicles. So just wondered if there was any update or if that might be addressed later in your meeting.
Staff.
The police department will be offering some comments on what they've learned in discussions with that company.
Okay. Did we want to go to that now? Are we good to go? All right, if you could come on up, state your name and your address, please, and you have up to 5 minutes.
I'm Sergeant Leroy Dancy, Vehicle for Hire Inspector for Oklahoma City Police Department. Last month at the Traffic Commission's meeting, the Commission did ask us to get more information about the Uber company. What we know so far is that Uber's operation currently operates through smartphones. That's basically strictly how they operate. To sum it up, a customer downloads the app on their their phone and request a ride through Uber, such as like a taxi cab service. What we consider now so far is consider them as a vehicle for hire or a company, but because of their operations, there has been some question of how they operate and whether or not our ordinance currently apply. So that's what we're at right now. But everything else so far is the same. Customer puts their credit card into the smartphone, they get them an estimate of the fare of the ride, and send a driver to take them where they need to go. On the other side of it, the driver does apply with Uber, and it's all done electronically also. So there's pretty much no paperwork for them. They do get paid. The drivers do get paid. There's been some question of how and through what steps they do get paid, but they are getting paid by applying with Uber. If you have any questions, I'd be more than welcome. We've done quite an extensive amount of investigation in this, so any questions that you have, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Well, I think the first question is it a vehicle for hire program?
That's what we're currently looking at, because unlike the regular taxi cab companies where there's someone locally based, there's a general manager, there's a company, all the cars look the same, how this particular company is currently operating. They have several different divisions. Uber is their parent company. They have several divisions, Black, which goes into their sedans or limos, Uber Taxi, which is a fleet of taxis they have, and then UberX. UberX is what's currently operating here in Oklahoma City. How they operate is they've basically been going on doing different type of advertising, mainly electronically, like through Facebook or Craigslist or something like that, and they just get your common, everyday private citizen instead of just your permitted taxi cab driver. So that's how they're operating there. So anyone who's me, you, or anyone else they go in to apply, and that's the basis where they're getting their drivers from.
So, is it a vehicle for hire program?
The police department's position is that yes, they are. But because this way they're operating is strictly through smartphones and some of the background investigations that we're looking into, we're trying to see if our current ordinances apply, which ones apply, and if there's any that need to be amended or added. We're looking into that also.
So, if they are a vehicle for hire program, and I understand you're just saying that as the law enforcement, of course you're working with the city manager's office and city council's office to determine if they comply with the requirements of the city. That has not happened yet?
That has not happened. They are employing drivers as we speak.
Right, but as far as your contact with the city manager's office, the city council, all that has not determined if they're in violation of our ordinances yet. You haven't determined that yet, have you?
We haven't came to a final conclusion, no,
Right,
sir.
okay. So the process is still going on to determine if this operation meets the current requirements of a vehicle for hire in the city of Oklahoma City.
Correct.
Okay. And that's the work you've done over the last month.
Correct.
To get to the point where you now understand the issue, and now the experts are going to analyze all this to determine if they're in violation or not. And then, as with anything else, of course, if they were to be in violation, you would then tell them. I'm just going down the road here a bit.
Correct.
If they're in violation of the current standard, you would tell them that they're in violation and here's the rules. And then, of course, they would be offered the opportunity to come to the city to say, how can we operate in your city? And they would work with the city managers and the city council to develop rules on how they could. Am I right, ma'am? Is that how this would all work?
Absolutely. We've in contact with some of the representatives. Once we come up to a final determination of that, we will give them that opportunity. We welcome their business, but we want them to do it legally and safely.
Exactly, because, and as we've talked in the past, the reason for all the vehicle for hire rules is for the safety of the citizenship.
Correct.
And to have a fair market for the people who provide that service.
Right.
And so we just want to make sure that this new type of service falls in line with all the requirements that are there for the safety of the citizenship and for the fair open market of providing that product of a vehicle for a hire.
Yes.
So if they are in complete compliance, then they just press on. If they're in non-compliance, you would tell them how they could get into compliance off of our current standards. And then if for some reason our current standards doesn't allow their current operation, then of course you would tell them they'd have to come talk to the city about changing the rules of how it works.
Absolutely correct.
Okay. And so we can have another update next month?
I'm thinking so.
Well, at least come and give an update of what's
We're
going
kind of
on.
update on where we are today,
Right.
and then let
No,
you know
that's
if there's
perfect.
any changes from where we are today to then. But I expect
Very good.
at least a little bit more information.
Okay, no, don't leave just yet. Does the staff have any input on this, or city council have any more? Okay, how about the different, on the horseshoe here, anybody have any more comment?
I have a question. On UberX, private citizens contract to drive their own cars as some type of taxi service?
Correct. The way it stands right now, they use their own vehicle, just as anything else. Right now, what we know of is that there is no mechanical inspections being done. Any inspections being done by Uber representatives are strictly a visual type of inspection, just pretty much a once walk around. From what we know of, it's not looking at anything as far as safety features or anything like that.
Okay, so I guess that would indicate that Uber has some type of physical corporate presence here in Oklahoma City? And do they have an office?
They have a representative, is what we know. They don't
Right.
physically have an office here. And that's part of the investigation that we're looking into, is that mainly their headquarters are a couple of different cities outside of the state of Oklahoma.
Okay, and has your research found anything about how other cities have addressed this, UberX?
There's been a lot of research that go throughout, because they're out throughout the entire nation in one form or fashion. As I said, it goes not necessarily UberX, but it could be UberX, Uber Taxi, Uber Black. Different cities have one of the different divisions, and there's been an array of enforcement or compliance or non-compliance throughout the entire nation. So there's not any one set standard. Uber pretty much dictates which division and which market they're going to go into in that particular city.
Okay, anybody else? Sir?
Do we have any understanding of how their insurance liability works? Is the driver responsible for that, or is...
The driver is responsible on his own vehicle. Uber covers a supplemental insurance for any insurance that's not covered, or they're stating that it's not anything that's not covered under their driver's insurance. So anything over and beyond, or if it does not, or the driver's insurance company does not cover something, Uber is stating that they will cover it, but as of right now, there's been no record to say yes or no if that does or does not happen or apply.
Okay, any other comments from the horseshoe?
No.
Okay, no, okay, sir.
Well, just the only comment, it sounds like we're going to wait on legal for a while till they come to some conclusions, and till then.
Right. Okay. All right, any other comments? All right, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
We'll see you next month.
Okay.
Okay, would you like to come back up for just a second? Oh, of course. You have about 4 minutes left.
It'll just take a second. Thank you, Sergeant Dancy. I have a great deal of respect for the job that he's trying to do. I just want to make sure that I understand, is the real question the manner in which the client is making the request for service? Is that where our real question is?
Well, I think personal.
For
We're
the
just
reason
right
that
now-
we can't move forward on doing something.
Well, I think what's happening is the city is assessing their current operation against the current rules that are in place.
Okay.
And you know, we've worked very hard to have solid rules that provide for the safety of the whole citizenship.
Of course.
And so they're trying to understand how they operate, how it's different than a traditional system that's in current place, and how they could be in compliance or how they're just not in compliance. And then once they look at it, just to be fair to the Uber company and fair to everybody, once the city managers and the lawyers and everybody makes a clear understanding, then they'll notify them of their current status. And then, of course, it'd be up to them to comply, hopefully, and then we would go from there.
Sure. And that's really my only concern, is because, as I stated last month, you know, it's those rules and regulations that we all live by
Exactly.
that they don't seem to be living by. And if it's just the mode of how they make their reservation, I mean, you know, my clients call, they email, they fax.
Oh, no, right.
You know,
I think it goes-
It sounded like it was the mode in which they were making the reservation.
No,
and request.
and he focused that that's just how they do it. Of course, we understand for taxis, they have to have a 24-hour operation, two-way radio, limos are set up in their way.
Sure.
Driver certification, vehicle inspections, licensing, et cetera, et cetera. That's all being analyzed on how it currently is with them.
Completely understand. I just wanted
And then
some
once they,
clarification.
yeah, we just want to make sure that if we're going to tell them something, it's exactly how we want it to be. I would
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. Okay. We have one more person that wishes to speak. Roger Andrews, if I could have your name, your address, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Roger Andrews, Yellow Cab Company, 107 Northwest 14th in Oklahoma City. We've been operating for 50, 60 years under the taxi cab ordinances of Oklahoma City, and it's very simple. They're in violation. You can look at the ordinance. All the cab companies currently operating in Oklahoma City are in compliance with this ordinance, and they are not. And that's the way they've been in every city they've gone to. They don't call and say, hey, we're here, what do we need to do to get permitted, licensed, whatever. They just show up and start taking business from everybody else. So if we start operating like they do next week, does that mean that we don't have to get permits and licenses anymore? We don't have to have our drivers drug tested and do background checks and check their driving records and things like that. We want a level playing field, okay? And right now, it's not anywhere close. And there's articles, and I've given Sergeant Danzy a number of these articles from what's occurred all over the country. Here's one, by taxi standards, Uber's model is checkered, okay? And we've got one here with smartphones, cars for hire, backfire south of I-30, that's in Dallas. So what they're doing is they're selecting their customers, they're cutting out certain parts of the socioeconomic community, saying, you don't have a smartphone, you don't have a credit card, don't bother with us, okay? And we transport everybody. When they call and somebody's grandmother needs to go 6 blocks to the grocery store, we pick them up, we take them to the pharmacy, the doctor, beauty salon, no matter how short the trip. We're required to do all these things with insurance and things of that nature, and apparently they're not going to be required to do the same. So I don't see that it's a very difficult question. I think, and if we need to have meetings like we did 4 years ago, the Taxi Cab Subcommittee, we can discuss this in more depth, and I think we can come up with some resolutions to show that every time they pick somebody up right now, they're in violation and they should be ticketed. And that's the only thing that's going to stop them. Now, if they want to file all the proper paperwork and get the licenses and permits, then I guess that's fine, but it doesn't seem like they want to do that. They haven't done it anywhere else. So I really would like to have the Taxi Cab Subcommittee called together so that we can delve into this and in more depth and, a 2 or 3 minute discussion. But, it's not fair to us. It's not fair to any of the cab companies or the drivers that have gotten licensed and permitted and spent time and money building these businesses Just have somebody come in that says, hey, those rules are for you guys, they're not for us. So I think that we need to enforce the ordinance that we have. I can't remember how many meetings we had the last time that we updated the ordinance, and that's what everybody agreed to, and that's what everybody's been doing, and now looks like somebody wants to change the rules. I just don't think that's right. Any questions?
Does anybody have any comments back? All right.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Anybody else comments from citizens before we move on? Okay. We go on now to item 7, reports and other items from traffic commissioners, committee, staff, and council's office. Let's start with Commissioner Witcher.
Had discussion with Stuart a little bit earlier about gathering what information we have related to signalizing the intersection of 23rd and Sarah Road, and so if you guys could just have some background next month for us to discuss about what we already know about the development in that area, and if further investigation for a signalized intersection is warranted.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Commissioner Littlefield.
Is this the appropriate time for the committee report?
Love to have it.
Let's do it. The subcommittee met after last month's meeting.
Which one? Let's go.
The subcommittee on traffic calming.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. And we decided that our first assignment would be to identify particular types of traffic problems. And we were going to meet this afternoon, but we anticipated that this meeting might run a little longer than normal. And we also don't have a quorum, so we've extended that meeting to after next month's hearing, and we will report after that. And nothing from Ward 2. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Commissioner Jenkins. Do you have anything? Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner George? Okay. Okay, let's go to law enforcement. Anything, ma'am? All right, thank you. Counselor's office? Okay, Mr. Chai?
All right. You've got our standard monthly report on the installation of yield signs that we've installed administratively, and the very last pages of your report, we've got a reply back from the Oklahoma Department of Transportation. This would be in regard to an item that the Commission had approved previously, approving all-way stop at North Piedmont Road, which is State Highway 4, and Hefner Road. The state reviewed that, and they did not find where all-way stop was warranted, so they offered some other suggestions as far as what kinds of safety improvements could be made, but I'm just providing that for your information, so there won't be an all-way stop at that intersection.
All right. If there's no other business, can I have a motion for adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn from Commissioner Wisher, second from Commissioner Jenkins. Let's have our votes. One more. You want to stay here? Do you want to stay here, Mr.? All right, there you go. Now we're good. All right, we're done. Thank you all.